Welcome back. And now for the Lady Lions, and it's an exciting year for them. They were just voted the Big Ten's best team. Alex Bentley, preseason media Big Ten Player of the Year. That they got a lot of high expectations. Do you think they're going to be able to meet them this year, Aaron?
Absolutely. I think the high expectations are just going to accelerate their drive with our student section showing up. I mean, because it's not all about Bentley. I mean, man, she is a force. But we have Gray, Green, Nixon. They're all returning freshman year. Maggie Lucas. These ladies know how to control a court together. And I think that with our expectations, if we can contribute, if we are all in the BJC and we're seeing them work around, I think these predictions are going to be true. I think last year, I feel like they could have gone farther, and I think they're going to use that to get a more desirable outcome this year. I think they know how good they are, and I think they're going to continue.
It was youth last year. That's why they tripped up here at home in the NCAA tournament, and that's tough. They don't get that back again. They don't get the play here. But, Maggie Lucas, Alex Bentley, Zsa Gray, that team was pretty unbelievable last year for being such a young team, such an inexperienced team, and they are back this year with experience. And something about them, something that separates in women's college basketball more than anything else, is the ability to shoot the three. And Penn State was one of the best three-point
shooting team in the nation.
In the nation, and that is a huge thing for them, but not as big as the experience factor. And I think that's all they lacked last year was experience. Now they just can't get caught up on the whole idea that they're one of the best teams in the country. They gotta just take all the hype lightly and just play their game, play like they played last year. They'll win more games this year if they do that, and they will. They go pretty far in the NCAA tournament.
That's exactly right. You got to play your game. They're a fast-paced offense. They put up points quickly. Love to run the fast break off of the defensive rebound, and it gives them the ability to drive to the basket with players like Bentley and the ability to shoot the three with players like Lucas on the pass out. So, just as long as they keep going with that system, that they're already a year into playing with all these girls, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, I think.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And now we're going to move on to the NFL. The Steelers and the Eagles, Pennsylvania's two teams. Let's talk about the Eagles first, because they had a terrible start. We all know the Redskins game, they kind of bounced back. And then on Sunday night, they demolished the Cowboys 34-7. What happened to this team over the bye week?
That's what happens to this team every year for the past 13 years. Under Coach Andy Reid, he always whips them into shape after the bye week. That's an incredible statistic. I think that this team may have done with the lockout. I'm not sure. We had so much talent. It wasn't working right. We weren't working together properly. But after the bye week, I'm telling you, I think you got to credit the coaching staff. I think they stuck to their offensive attack, keeping it widespread, which is dangerous. But they went fast and they went furious during this game against the Cowboys, and I think that was it. We saw Brent Selleck finally getting some receptions. It was wonderful, and we haven't seen him all season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Either, because our wide offense spread hasn't really been working. And then meanwhile, on the defense, I feel like that was reconfigured. We saw Nanyasima. Finally
shows
see him
up.
out. He's picking up. He's making some picks, and I see him working more around the zone rather than a man-to-man coverage, and I think that definitely worked against the Cowboys yesterday. I think we knocked them off their feet, and I expect this is going to be tough to see if they can keep this up for the rest of the season, because fast and furious isn't necessarily very sturdy, not very strong. So we have to make sure.
Michael Vick.
With Dan's favorite player.
Michael Vick, I was just going to say.
NFL.
Michael Vick's injury prone. I mean, you never know with him running around and in the pocket, outside the pocket.
Yeah, and I think that statistic you brought up about the bye week actually kind of convinces me that this could still be a fluke. You talk about the things that the Eagles still have problems with. They have problems on their offensive line. They have problems with their linebackers and their ability to stop the run. This is a team that really doesn't adjust very well. Right. And in a game against the Cowboys like that, where they jump out to an early lead and everything's clicking, they look great. But in a game where the defense that they're playing comes out and has an answer for what they do, I'm not sure I trust the coaching staff of the Eagles to be able to adjust. They haven't been able to do it in the past. Andy Reid usually, when things like that happen, gets very pass-happy and avoids using arguably his best offensive weapon in Shady McCoy.
Yeah. Who had a great game with 185 yards.
Yeah, when they use him, he's unbelievable.
But
there are games this season, I think against San Francisco, they didn't use him hardly at all in the second half. They had about 9 carries.
So it'll be interesting to see if they can turn it around now.
They don't really have the room to lose more than 3 games.
No, absolutely
not. With the way the Niners are playing, the 49ers are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
they don't have the room to go 8-8 or 9-7 and make the playoffs.
They have a
have
tough
to really
schedule.
go on a tear.
Absolutely.
I think they lost too many games at the beginning of the season.
Now another team, the Steelers, they seem to have righted the ship. We talked about it last week. Again, Ben Roethlisberger, an impressive performance against the Patriots. Jeff, is this their division to lose, the AFC North?
It's clear. I mean, the Bengals have played some poor teams. That's why their record's up where it is.
Right.
The Ravens got away with one against the Cardinals. That team just doesn't. I mean, it was a wake-up call. That team doesn't seem to get up for their games. And you know the Steelers are gunning for them this Sunday night.
Oh boy, that's a big matchup.
Against the Ravens. And
Absolutely.
the Steelers they looked maybe the best I've seen them look in a long time. And that includes last year.
Yeah.
To what they did to the New England Patriots
Yeah.
with their defense was beyond impressive. That
Yeah.
shut anyone up that said they were too old. That shut anyone up that said they were, crumpling down on offense. Hines Ward was out. Antonio Brown shined. Finally, he was the breakout star of that game. Rashard Mendenhall, he's been outstanding, and again ran so hard against that great front seven New England Patriots. That Steelers team is very
It's a
scary.
dangerous team
And I think
late in the season.
I think anyone that said they were getting old was foolish.
Yeah.
Now they look even more foolish. They're going to get injured. So are the Ravens, though, because that's the way they play.
Yeah.
They're primed and ready for another Super Bowl run.
And their offensive game plan really aided their defense in that game. You talk about a team that controlled the ball for 2/3 of that game. They had the ball almost 40 minutes of that game. Keep the ball out of Tom Brady's hands as much as possible. They went 10 for 16 on third downs. That's a great way to extend a drive. 9 for 12 passing on third down plays. Ben Roethlisberger got it done with screen passes. They got it done running the ball with Mendenhall, ball control, keeping the ball away from the other team's best weapon. Great game plan by the Steelers, and they executed it.
Absolutely. Now moving on to our over-unders. We'll start with Dan. Big Ten basketball. Go ahead.
Well, specifically Penn State basketball, I want to compare them to the team that they had 2 years ago. They struggled mightily. They were a little young. They had all those guys that were juniors. They went 3-16. So I'm going to compare this year's team to that team from 2 years ago. Over under 3 Big Ten wins for Penn State basketball.
Push. Give me one against Iowa. Give me one against Nebraska. Other than that, throw maybe a fluke win there. Northwestern never seems to be able to play here. I love Pat Chambers.
Mm-hmm.
This team is garbage. I'm sorry. It's not good. They might surprise people, but even so, if they surprise people, I'm talking like 7 wins, maybe 8 wins. But it's nothing they can do. It's a
Right.
complete, overhaul of the team. So it's not totally their fault.
And Aaron, your over-under is Penn State football. How many wins they're going to win the rest of the year?
Yes, over, under 2. I'm going to say under. I think after the bye, we can pull off a win against Nebraska, but when we go against Ohio and Wisconsin, I'm not sure they're going to fare so well.
All right. And now, Jeff, finally, the Big Ten basketball, will they be represented in the Final Four?
Yeah, I say over under one team, the one team being Ohio State, Michigan maybe. I say under 0.
I'd say push because I can see Michigan getting there. I think that we saw a lot of people predicting a lot of Big East teams to make the Final Four last year, and that didn't really happen.
Right.
And we were talking about it last year. It kind of had to do with the way that they officiate in the NCAA tournament, and it kind of favors Big Ten style basketball a little bit. So I could see Michigan getting in there. I'll give it a push.
All right. Well, that'll do it for Penn State Sports Night. For Jeff Lowe, Dan Smith, and Aaron Ryan, I'm Eric Feinstein. Have a good night.